Hey guys, what's up? So today in our today's video session we will study about Gauss law and its properties. Okay. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel Pratik Singh Classes. Do like and share my channel, my videos to your friends so that everybody can get benefits from my knowledge. Please hit the bell icon so that whenever I will upload a new video, you will get its notification. In your Chrome browser or YouTube browser or whatever browser you use, just type youtube.com/c/Pratik Singh Classes and it will take you to all the videos which I have made till now. Okay, fine. So without wasting our time, let us go to our today's topic, that is Gauss law, section 163. Let's start. Our today's topic, it is Gauss law. A positive point charge q is surrounded by an imaginary sphere of radius r as shown in figure 1.36. We will see it now. We can calculate the total electric flux through the closed surface of the sphere using the equation 1.58. This equation we already have seen that electric flux is equal to electric field into area vector. Okay, that is psi E is equal to closed integral E dot dA. Here this symbol is called as closed integral. Okay, that means when you have an area enclosed, okay, and the area is of any arbitrarily shape, okay, and in that area we have to find out how much is total electric flux, then we use this symbol. Okay, so it is same as that of our ordinary integration, but just a loop is given at the center. It means that the area is closed. Okay, and that psi E is equal to closed integral E dA cos theta. We know very well from the vector algebra that A dot V is equal to AB cos theta. Okay, that is vector E dot vector dA is equal to E dA cos theta. Okay, here the angle theta is the angle between the electric field and the normal to the plane of the area, okay, or the region. As we have seen in our previous video lectures, the electric field of the point charge is directed radially outward and all points on the surface of the sphere. We will see a picture given below, okay, that an electric field is there which is radially outward and every point, whatever is the shape and size of the sphere, therefore the direction of area element dA is along the electric field E and theta is equal to 0 degree. How has this happened? Let us see in this following figure. As you can see here, when the charge is at the center, okay, here the charge is situated at the center of this sphere, the electric field is everywhere normal to the surface and constant in magnitude. Okay, so if we take a sphere around it, okay, in 3 dimensions, okay, and we take a small region as much smaller as we can, okay, that is infinitesimally small, okay, then the normal to that region, the normal to that area will be the electric field as given here. Okay, and also you can see that whenever we have to find out the angle, that psi is equal to integral E dot dA, okay, there the angle cos theta will be the angle between the area region and the electric field. As you can see in this figure 1.36, that the area vector, that is vector dA, okay, and electric field E, okay, is lying parallel to each other. That means at 0 degree. Okay, that is the normal on the area dA, okay, is parallel to the electric field. In that situation, theta is equal to 0 degree and cos 0 degree is equal to 1. So in this situation, total electric flux will be maximum. Okay, coming to the next point. Okay, so you can see here psi is equal to closed integral E dA because cos theta is equal to 1, because theta is equal to 0 degree. So we haven't taken here cos theta term. Okay, so E is uniform on the surface of the sphere, then psi E is equal to E into closed integral dA. Okay, that is the area, total surface area of the given sphere. Okay, because electric field E is constant term, it will come outside of the integration. Okay, now substituting for closed integral dA, that is total surface area of the sphere, that we know very well, it is equal to 4 pi r square. Okay, and E is equal to electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. If you remember this equation, it says that electric field, because of a charge at a point which is at a distance r from it, is given by E is equal to k into q by r square, or 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square, where r is the distance from the source charge to the point of consideration and q is the magnitude of the charge. Okay, so just substitute the values in equation 1.60. We will have total value of psi E mathematically is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. This is the value of E into dA, that is 4 pi r square. It will give you 4 pi into 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q. Okay, so here 4 pi and 4 pi will cancel out and you will get only q by epsilon naught. So total electric flux is equal to q by epsilon naught. Okay, so equation 1.61 is called Gauss law, that is q by epsilon naught. This is called as the Gauss law. Okay, it is to be noted that this equation is equally true for any arbitrarily shaped surface which encloses the charge as shown in figure 1.37 below. Okay, that means if suppose a charge is enclosed by any a sphere or any kind of pure surface, okay, that means uniform surface or non-uniform surface. Okay, to find out total electric flux, this formula is valid for all the situations. It is seen that the total electric flux is same for closed surfaces A1, A2, A3 as shown in figure 1.37 here. Okay, so here you can see that we have three regions: region A1, region A2 and region A3. We know that very well from our previous lessons that from a positive charge electric field lines go in outward direction, and to a negative charge electric field lines comes from outward to inward direction. Okay, so here we can see three regions. Okay, region A, region B, region 3. Region A is a perfect sphere. Okay, region A2 and A3 are in any arbitrary shape. Even in that situation, the total flux according to Gauss law is equal to q by epsilon naught, where q is the magnitude of the charge and epsilon naught is the permittivity of the given region or of the given surface. Okay, so for either area or region A1, A2 or A3, okay, the Gauss law will be same, valid for all these three surfaces. Gauss law states that if a charge q is enclosed by an arbitrarily closed surface, then the total electric flux psi is through the closed surface area or closed surface is given by psi E is equal to closed integral E dot dA, that is q enclosed by epsilon naught. Here q enclosed means what is the magnitude of the charge which is enclosed by the arbitrarily surface. Okay, and epsilon naught is the permittivity. Here q enclosed denotes the charge inside the closed surface. Now coming to the important discussions of Gauss law or important points of the Gauss law. This is too much important because last year this question has been asked in 3 marks. Here you can see the total electric flux through the closed surface depends only on the charges enclosed by the surface, and the charges present outside the surface will not contribute to the flux and the shape of the closed surface, which can be chosen arbitrarily. Okay, that means the flux only depends on what is the magnitude of the charge inside the closed surface area. Okay, if suppose we are taking any arbitrarily area like this, okay, and here a charge q is situated, whether a positive charge or a negative charge, we only need the magnitude. Okay, if suppose we have another charge at any distance r from this charge, okay, suppose this is q dash, okay, in that situation total electric flux, okay, at this region because of this charge will not be affected because of this charge. Okay, so every single charge contributes in the electric flux. Okay, now coming to the second topic. Okay, so number 2, the total electric flux is independent of the location of charges inside the closed surface. Okay, suppose you have any surface, whether it is a homogeneous surface or any closed surface which is of arbitrarily shape. Okay, even if suppose the charge is here, okay, or at the center or at any other place, okay, total electric flux inside this arbitrarily region, okay, will be always same, that is q by epsilon naught. Okay, so here as you can see that location of the charge inside the closed surface is not important. Okay, because when we write that epsilon is equal to psi is equal to q by epsilon naught, okay, we do not have any term related to r. Okay, this equation is free of this distance. Okay, so wherever is the charge we will have same electric flux, okay, regardless of its position inside this closed arbitrarily shaped area. All right, coming to the third point. Okay, what does it say? Let us see. To arrive to equation 1.62, that is psi e is equal to q by epsilon naught, we have chosen a spherical surface. In first equation we have taken a spherical surface, and in second equation we have taken any arbitrarily closed surface. This imaginary surface is called the Gaussian surface. Okay, so whatever surface we choose, okay, that is imaginary and it is called as Gaussian surface. The shape of the Gaussian surface to be chosen depends on the type of charge configuration and the kind of symmetry existing in that charge configuration. Charge configuration means how the charges are located. If suppose there are two or more than two charges, in that situation what is the gap between them, what type of charges are they, okay, that is called as charge configuration. The electric field is spherically symmetric for a point charge, therefore a spherical Gaussian surface is chosen. Okay, we know that very well that either from positive charge or from negative charge electric field lines comes out, and that is spherically symmetric. That is why in our previous equations in Gauss law we have taken a spherical surface. Okay, if suppose we have a cylindrical surface or planar surface, what can be done? Cylindrical and planar Gaussian surfaces can be chosen for other kinds of charge configurations. Okay, but there will not be any such difference between the earlier equation and this topic, this term now. Okay. Okay, so coming to our next topic, okay, that is number 4, the LHS of equation 1.62. The electric field E is due to charges present inside and outside the Gaussian surface, but Q enclosed, okay, denotes the charges which lie only inside the Gaussian surface. Okay, so when we take either a perfect surface or an arbitrarily shaped surface, okay, that is called as Gaussian surface, Q enclosed means we are considering only those charges which are perfectly lying inside only of the Gaussian surface which is chosen. Okay, when we write psi is equal to q by epsilon, okay, there the q may be outside or may be inside on the surface of the surface, but when we write psi is equal to q enclosed by epsilon, that means the charge is perfectly inside the Gaussian surface. Okay, that is q enclosed, as you have seen earlier, q enclosed by epsilon naught. The Gaussian surface cannot pass through any discrete charge, but it can pass through continuous charge distributions. It is because very close to the discrete charges, the electric field is not well defined. That means if suppose we take a charge and we take a region which is too much close to it, we cannot. So this is the last topic of Gauss law, that is Gauss law is another form of Coulomb's law and it is also applicable to the charges in motion. Okay, means if suppose the charge is moving from its position, even in that situation we can take any arbitrarily surface around it and we can find out how much is the total electric flux at that region. Okay. Because of this reason, Gauss law is treated as much more general law than Coulomb's law, because Coulomb's law always taken or often taken when the charge is stationary, but here Gauss law specifies more values than Coulomb's law, because we can use the Gauss law even if charges are moving in random direction and having the Gaussian surface of even any random region or random surface. So this is the end of our today's video session. I hope you must have learned something new today. Please like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel youtube.com/c/Pratik Singh classes. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.